Round Showdown. It's great to see everybody. Hope everybody enjoys this one. We're coming at you right now. Always a great bop, man. Yes. Welcome back in, everybody. This is another episode of First Round Showdown. We're going to be talking about Alien 3 for the Sega Genesis today. How's everybody doing today?
We've already got several people in the chat. We've got Chaos here. Of course, he was first.
A lot of great people.
We've got Nova, and we've got Tark here.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Definitely need to send out the shares on this one. But anyway, yeah. One of the greatest games ever made, Alien 3 for the Sega.
Debatable. Speak for yourself.
Alien 3, right. Exactly. That's why I said it. Alien 3 for the Sega Genesis, based off of the actual movie, Alien 3. Ellen Ripley trying to take out the Xenomorphs again. This is a side-scrolling platform run-and-gun game released October 1992. Single-player in most created games. However, the Master System, actually you could play multiplayer. I didn't really delve too much into that as much, but I wouldn't mind seeing that. Published by Acclaim Entertainment and Virgin Interactive, developed by Probe Software, and Bits Studio did the Game Boy version. Released on the Amiga N64. The Amiga, Commodore 64, the Game Boy, Game Gear, Sega Master System, the NES, Genesis, and the Super Nintendo. Each version, as Shadowloo was saying last week, each version, I think, is almost completely different. I did, however, see the Game Gear version, I think, is a little bit more like the Sega Master System, and the Game Gear version, I think, are both like the Sega Genesis version, but the graphics are not as good.
Yeah.
So every console ever made at that point had a Alien 3 game, and they were all awful.
All completely awful, yeah.
You know, I have to assume, because so Alien was big, right, from a movie release standpoint. And then you had Aliens, which blew everybody's pants off. They're like, oh yeah, holy hell!
I think that was the best one out of the three.
Oh, they're like, this movie freaking rocks. It's amazing. And so I think what happened,
also all-star cast too, man. I mean, there's a lot of great people in that, yeah.
But I think what happened then is the studio's like, oh man, they loved Alien 1, they loved Aliens. We got to put some marketing.
We got to put a game out for this one, yeah.
Nuts. Yeah, and so then it was like, put out the feelers, and then for some, I don't know how they must have made so much money on just that deal alone, but to basically be like, hey, bro, not only do we want Alien 3, but we want it on 8 different platforms.
Right, right. They really,
I can't think of another game that did something to that extent, but
right. So this one is a little different from the movie, though. If you guys remember, in the movie, she is on the Fiorina 161 prison colony that has no weapons. The movie, they do not have weapons in the movie. They have to make some type of makeshift, flamethrowers or mines or something like that, but they don't have weapons in the movie. In this one, obviously they have what's it 4 different weapons. You have the pulse rifle, you have the flamethrower, which is pretty powerful, but it doesn't really give you a lot of distance. You have the M203 grenade launcher, and then you have the grenades, which, I mean, that's probably the worst weapon in the game. And you fight mainly xenomorphs.
The grenades were awful.
Yeah, you mainly face the xenomorphs, the face huggers, and after each like 2 or 3 level span for the different areas, you fought the level guardian.
In fact, the grenades were only useful for the face huggers.
Even then, I mean, like
if
I
you
didn't
could,
even I didn't even try to get close enough to those egg pods to even try to
you
do
didn't
that. I'm
have
just
to.
like
You could
right.
stay back far enough and chuck a grenade
Okay.
and blow them up.
Yeah.
And they would never spawn. But that was the only time they were useful for that. And if you could time it right, you could drop them down off the ladder
While you were in the ladder, yeah. Other than
Yeah.
that, it's like by the time they're just the xenomorphs are just way too fast. There's
Yeah.
no way you can get a good. I mean, unless you pre-throw because you're moving and the location of your character, you move forward. You got like maybe a third of the screen in front of you, so you almost have to pre-fire a lot of times in this game.
Yeah, you have to time it very well.
It's so bad. I hate it. There's so much of like not only do the enemies like there's such a small threshold for you to even correct because as they might be walking on screen, but then that zone for which they like lock on and are like, okay, we're gonna attack now.
They like zoom
massive.
at you, dude. Yeah.
Yes, they do like a giant leap, and they start walking faster when they're in your perimeter, and that sucks so hard.
Yeah.
It's like you have to know where they're coming from. I mean, there were times where I was like literally shooting rockets while running straight because I'm like, oh yeah, there's bound to be
it's like there's bound to be something in front of you. Yes. Yeah.
I will say I enjoyed that they didn't respawn if you killed them.
Right.
So if you killed them, they did not respawn. But just like I say about every game, it's all patterns. So it's doing it over and over again until you memorize the patterns of this game.
Right.
And then once you do, you can beat it. But except for that last area, that was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, me and Slow-Mo, we both we talked about it. We both lost the exact same reason, So we'll definitely get into that.
Tark said the game was so repetitive watching Slow-Mo stream it.
Yeah.
And he is
correct. It is.
It is very repetitive.
Yeah.
I saw that level 5 was named, it was something like Mayhem, and I was just like, yeah, this is accurately named. It's like this is awful.
Well, I think there's like one or two levels. Yeah, I think there's 1 or 2 levels through the gameplay where it's literally just you don't have to save anybody. You just have to make it from point A to point B and just not die.
So it's one of the 3 different level types. You have the missions, which are the rescue missions. You have that one mayhem level. That's the only one in the game.
Is
and then
it
you
the
have
only one
the
in
level
the game?
guardians.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the only one.
Yeah.
Rick says he does not envy us for having to play that this week. Honestly, okay, in my opinion, it wasn't a bad game. It was I didn't hate it. I enjoyed playing it, and it wasn't making me mad to the point where I didn't want to play it anymore.
Right.
I think you're lying.
But no, I played it a lot.
How much did Probe Software pay you to say that right now?
As a matter of fact, I could tell you exactly how many times I played this game. And the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times over the past week.
Wow.
8 times.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate this game, but it's definitely not my favorite game we've played so far.
Right. Well, go ahead and get into it there, Slow-Mo.
You want to see the videos, I guess? Alrighty. Alrighty, so I tried to show a little bit of every level. These bosses, the level guardians, you could cheese the fuck out of them. They were not hard to beat. If you struggle with those, you are bad at this game.
Is that Mayhem right there?
That is Mayhem right there, yeah.
I thought so, yeah.
The level designs were pretty good. There were different areas, and each area had like 3 levels and then a level guardian. I mean, your biggest enemy in this is like there's plenty of drops to find. There's plenty of health drops. It's the time. The time will kill you if you don't know where these people are.
If you were able to take your time, as much time as you needed, I mean,
this game would be simple.
Yeah.
But like the big problem is your time. You don't know where these people are, and you have to find them while trying to rush and get past these aliens. And if you did not have a time limit, this game would be a cakewalk. This area, the biggest issue with this area is it's got parts where the floor will fall out from underneath of you and you will fall. And if you fall too far, you cannot get back up to where the people are. So you have to restart.
Yeah.
You have to restart. And so if you go into that area without continues, you're done because you're going to fall. I fell like 4 times on that one level and I could not get back up and I had to restart.
Yep.
And so like, and even like if you don't fall, you still have to make sure that you get to a point where you have all the top half like,
for
completely
a fact,
saved.
Right.
Because once you go down, you're not getting back up.
Right.
Even if the floor don't fall out. It has nothing to do with that. You go too far down, you're not getting back up. So that area just was, I mean, I know they did that on purpose, but it's very poorly designed in my opinion.
Right.
This was like that era of, I feel like game developers somehow got in this mindset of like, oh yeah, kids love the torture. Like, let's make it just brutal. Let's make kids hate us.
I mean, well,
Right.
and like
I just
very
don't
clearly
get
we
that.
do, and even still as adults, because we do a whole show on it every week.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, I think this is like it's honestly really great in retrospect, looking for like a game design perspective. Like anybody who's interested in game design, looking back at this era was like it. I think developers were still figuring out what like difficulty meant, right? And what is like an actual progressive level of difficulty. And to some people, that was like, oh, yeah, let's just shove more enemies on screen. Like that's more difficult. In some way, it is. In other ways, it's just like awful. It just makes you feel awful as a gamer. You're like, nothing about this is interesting. It's just, it hurts my brain to like try to deal with this. And so I think it's interesting to look back at some of this to go like, oh yeah, it's not like Alien 3 was the unique title to do this kind of stuff. Tons of games were laid out exactly like this.
just feels cheap to me. And sometimes,
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And when the floor's falling out and you can't get back up, that's cheap. Like there's already fall damage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nuts. Yeah, mind numbing.
I always love the subtitles under Shadowloo's name from Chaos Flame.
Man,
Shadowloo's actually inspired me to change mine every week as well.
That's why I'm here.
Go. There you go. The man who will never play Alien 3 again.
Rick says blame the rental market for that, and in a way, he's right. I know they specifically with Lion King, the second level, they made it super hard with the purpose of they're going to have to re-rent this game over and over again.
Yeah. Yep, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, it's just such
I feel like
a
that's
weird,
like commonplace back then. When
just such a weird way to lay it. But I mean, there's so much about this too that it's like, in my opinion, I mean, definitely compared to like other titles at the time, there's so much about this that just feels rough around the edges. Like movement doesn't feel great. The fact that like if you're trying to like duck and shoot, if you'd already started shooting, you're now in a pivot mode, so you can't duck.
Yeah.
You're only going to aim down onto the floor. So movement and doing anything is like out of the picture. You need to have your decision made while you're standing still.
The one thing I hated in regards to movement is you can't jump and shoot at the same time.
Right.
Yep. That's another thing. Can't jump and shoot at the same time. Getting on and off ladders is you have to be touching the ground, and
God forbid, past the ground a little bit.
God forbid the ladder is in between floors, so you have to line up perfectly to get off onto that other floor. And the worst part is where you're trying to do that, you can't shoot left or right while on a ladder. So if you're trying to get off on a floor where there's aliens walking back and forth, they're just going to rip you apart because you can't shoot left or right on the ladder.
You almost have to stay on top of them or below them and wait for them to walk by so you can shoot either up or down.
Yes, it's like there's so much of it that it's like there are tons of other games that do this just fine, that like have it figured out, right? Like being able to jump and shoot and jump. I mean, NES games did that. Master Systems games did that. Why do we go backwards so hard?
Yeah.
I want to point out a comment from Diablo. He said, players would have beat them too quickly and it wouldn't have justified their price. I'm going to disagree, because if games are too easy, that doesn't justify the price, especially back then when games were $70, $80. I feel like that would be less justifiable if you can bring the game home and beat it in 45 minutes.
Right.
I feel like that, you know, you got to get your value for your dollar. And I feel like they tried to make them intentionally difficult so you got more time playing the game before you actually beat it.
Some of this is, I think, is a carryover of an arcade mentality too. Like arcades did make games artificially difficult. So if you wanted to beat them,
just for those quarters, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like so developers are now having to like dip this toe in both arcade mentality as well as home console mentality. And this is like kind of that mixture of the two, to where it's like, oh, games don't have to, like, home games don't have to play like arcade games. Like, they don't have to. You make it that way, but it doesn't have to be like that. Like
Sega had a lot of that. Sega was really big with like arcade ports and stuff like that. So like a lot of even like Sega branded games and games that weren't arcade ports feel very arcadey on the Sega.
Well, and that was one of the things that I appreciated. I don't know. Have you guys ever played the Super Nintendo Alien 3?
I tried.
Okay.
I tried a long time ago. I'm definitely down with trying it again, but a long time ago, and it was like,
well, let's not go that far.
Yeah. He's like, oh, maybe not.
No. Well, the thing is I always liked that one. That was the one I played. I got way back in the day, and it's definitely like a different game. Visually, it's different, but it has. It's more
Dredd.
like, you think it's Judge Dredd?
It is. I mean, it's the same concept.
Judge Dredd too, but
Judge Dredd, you look at the console to get your objectives. You have different things you have to do in each level. You have to rescue people. You have to destroy things. You know, it's the same, very much the same concept.
Yeah, it's a little more like Metroidvania in that respect, right? That you would like be kind of backtracking a little bit, but you're accepting missions and like, I don't know, focused on one place and getting used to that place and the layout. There are certain things like the fact that there's no map in this makes my head want to explode. Because by the time you basically remember the level, you beat it, and then you're starting all over again.
Right.
And it's driving me insane.
I also want to point out
he keeps freezing. Slow-mo, you keep freezing there, buddy.
I also want to pull out or point out nothing.
I said I want to point out they intentionally made Ripley thick.
In what? This?
Yes. If you look when hold on, I'm pull it up. Hold up, I'm gonna pull it up.
I guess I didn't look that hard.
Look at that when you're going through those vents.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
That was on purpose. They knew what they were doing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I did.
Shadowloo, if you want to show some gameplay, if you think it's that bad, you could mute it and just talk about it.
I want to hear it. I love when Shadowloo rants during his.
So this is gameplay. This is like a progression. This is like a natural progression of like me experiencing this for the first time. It's like,
I love
it. Oh, this isn't so bad. This is interesting. And then it's just me it start to get into a rage cycle.
Question: is it worse than the Super Metroid wall?
I don't. That really rustled.
Turn your
my
volume
jimmies.
up. Turn your volume up.
That rustled my
anywhere
jimmies.
close to that. You know,
this definitely frustrated me in a way that I was like, "Yep, nope, I'm done. I'm good. Goodbye, everybody."
Let's get into it. I want to see this right now.
Okay, so I will say I didn't know if you wanted to save this for kind of like an in thing. This video is 4 minutes.
Oh no, it's great. It's fine.
Okay, all right. Buckle in, folks, and if you got kids around, can
scram, children. This is not family friendly.
This theme music is pretty dope.
Yeah,
like it works pretty good. I'm pretty sure the rest of this game is gonna make me rage hard. I was not wrong, but like I have no qualms with the intro. And I will say this is my highlight. The music of this game. This is pretty funky and pretty solid. Great. I like this. I have no complaints about it. I like it a lot. Tries. Oh, we're going 9 difficulty. We're going easy. Yep.
I did that too. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too. I told you guys before we selected this. Do easy. Do 9 lives.
Already. I'm like a big no. I thought that was a wall. The reverse Metroid. Opposite. How are you supposed to get around that? So dumb. The time limit is obnoxious on a maximum scale.
Yeah, this might be my favorite video you've ever made so far.
And you gotta do every one again? Oh, that's so bullshit. I cannot believe it. I hate this. I cannot believe you have to do that again.
Yeah, I got really pissed off that you had to save everybody.
So bullshit. What are you supposed to do with that? Fuck you, dude, you stupid bitch.
I never say that, and
Are you fucking kidding me? What bullshit, dude?
So he loves this game.
What are you supposed to do with that? Like, fuck off. Come on,
that was
dude.
basically like the only way I could figure out how to get through that was to blow up the door. Just spam it with grenades.
Fuck!
You can use that one grenade, the grenade launcher, and it'll blow up the first try. That's what I'm saying. Is like
if
not being able to jump and
close enough
shoot
to the wall, to the door, they'll actually start like running into it and headbutting it, and they will destroy it eventually.
God, fuck this game! Fuck! This sucks!
That was mission 2.
Way to start a level! Dude!
Like, that's nuts,
were you
like,
live
honestly,
for this?
Get me off the fucking ladder!
No, I
Get me
recorded
off the
it.
ladder,
I was just
dude.
mad.
Fuck off!
I was just, yeah.
Oh, fuck,
I
this
was gonna
sucks.
say banned.
Fucking duck down!
No, he won't get banned. I've seen him do this
Oh my
live.
god.
I have
really?
no
so much I
problems
hate
with
about
language.
Well, you know,
like,
there's a lot of
so
streamers
much
that I see that like go crazy.
So
but yeah.
much.
I mean, I don't use derogatory language or anything.
That's
And I'm Mark.
No, you're good. You're good.
So.
For a dead end? Eat shit, dude.
Tark says my ears are bleeding.
Yeah.
Fuck!
So I want to point out those ramps.
Fuck!
You had to actually jump over them.
Well, you had
You
to
slid
at
down
least,
them. You took damage.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Like
crazy.
this?
you
This
at least
sucks.
had to jump
This whole
halfway
thing
down.
covering you with boxes
It slid a little
is
bit, but if you
awful.
slid all the
Not
way
being
down,
able
it
to see
took so
behind
much
there,
health, dude.
Awful. Getting on ladders, awful. Not able to jump and shoot, awful. When you are shooting, the fact that it turns into a pivot and you can't like duck or stand up while shooting after you started to shoot, awful. All of that sucks. It feels bad. People who made this game should feel bad. I hate that. I hate it.
Did either of you guys actually
Look at
let
this.
the time
Like,
run out and
there's
see what
nothing
happens?
you can do
Yeah.
outside of
I didn't let
waiting
it.
on
It
the
just
ladder.
did
You
it on
can't
its
jump
own.
off a ladder.
All right.
That's another thing. Once you're on the ladder, there's no getting off of it. No getting. You have to touch ground. The no radar is insane. The radar
Yeah, the
having a
fact that there was
battery-
battery on the radar is nuts
Insane.
too.
Yeah.
Diablo says
Fuck
Shadow
you.
is my spirit
Fuck you. Nope,
animal.
That's it. I'm calling it. I'm out. I'm out. I don't want to play this anymore. I don't want to play it. I'm done.
That was it. It was mission 4 for me. I was done. I
Yeah.
got to that mission after the Guardian, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, now you need to get 8 people, and this place has face huggers
Dude,
now." and
some of
everything. I was
them
like,
later in the
There's one
later,
level you have to
there's
get
like
17.
16 or 17.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
"Oh
It's a huge map, dude.
yeah, so much for that." Yeah,
Chuck says, but hey, the music though.
The music
I
is
mean-
great.
I mean that's why I'm like that is my. I'll leave you with that. I like the music. I was okay with that. I think it has a very Genesis-y feel, but like there were actually some pretty banger tracks in that.
Yeah.
I will listen to the soundtrack. I will never make it past the options menu though, and doing the sound check. 'Cause that's it. I'm not gonna play that again. I promise you, I will not.
Well,
I will not.
I think it's time we see the video of somebody who probably did better than both of us.
Nah, me and you, we went as far as we could with that.
So neither of you guys beat it. You
No.
We got to just about the same area.
I actually think I made it a little farther.
I think you did
then
too. Yeah. Well,
freaking-
once you said you went through the second time, right?
What do you mean?
Like you said, you went through. You got past the
I made it
area.
I made it to 14, which was the second area of.
So you, I think, yeah. So yeah, you did make it. Yeah, because like you'll see at the end of my video, I'm like, dude,
Wait,
yeah.
does that mean I'm the goat now?
You are the goat.
The Alien 3 goat. All right, here we go. Let's watch Freedom.
Yeah, so like Shadowloo says, the soundtrack is pretty dope all the way around. I enjoy the music for all of the levels. Yes, you have to practically pre-fire because you can see the small space that you're actually limited with, and the pivoting right there you can see is the same thing. I grew up with this game. I got it when I was a kid. You know, I was a kid trying to play this game, and I don't think I got past the med bay at least. I did 10 times better here than I did when I was a kid. It was very limited for the sprites, enemies, whatever, because literally all you had was the regular xenomorphs, you had the facehuggers, and then you had the level guardian. I don't think there were any other enemies in the game besides that. Now you had some that crawled like that, and then you had some that ran. But other than that, it's all the same stuff. You know, oh, I'm sorry, the pods as well. But yeah, it's all pretty much the same thing. You know, cat and mouse, looking for stuff, looking for enemies there. As Slow-Mo said, that there was a lot of pickups that you can get. So, I mean, if you played this repetitively, it can be pretty repetitive. But they don't respawn, as he said. So it really wasn't too bad for that. It's just the difficulty, the time. You know, if there was no time limit, I feel like you could kind of take your time a little bit more and, like, be preventative with some of the damage, but you almost have to rush through because of that time frame. And like Shadowloo says, as you're playing this, yeah, right there, yeah, and right here, it's like, you know, I got past, is this the first one? Yes, this is the first one right here. You know, you pretty much get it, but like Slow-Mo was saying, if you go lower than like this area right here is what screwed me. Once you get past that, you can't go back up past that. So once you get farther down, you can't go back up. And there's like 3 or 4 prisoners up top you have to actually save.
So there it is. I don't remember how many it is to start, but I know 4 is how many are on the lower half.
And I think there's either 3 or 4 up top. So right there at the end,
I think it's actually more.
But there might be more. Yeah.
Let me rewind to when you first started that level.
So I think it's 10. 7. Is it 10?
I think it's 10 to start this point.
Oh, yeah. It is 10.
So it's 10. So you have to get 6 up top.
So there's like 5 or 6 up top.
Yeah.
So
and they're all on like most of them are on the far right side on different levels. And there's one, if you go down that far, that's it.
Yeah.
Can I say how scarce like base level ammo is too? Like for the machine gun, like you cannot stockpile it at all.
I didn't use it that much. So
what did you use instead?
The first half of the game, I used the flamethrower because that ammo. I used it because it was the ammo I wanted to use the least, and I used it on the easier levels because once I was out, it wouldn't bother me. Yeah. After that, I used the grenade launcher.
Yeah, the grenade launcher, and actually, you know, as long as you get a fire off, you can. I think at one point I had like 60 shots, you know, and so that kind of definitely helps. Yeah.
Oh, I had it all the way up to 99.
So much ammo. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much for that thing.
And you know, I mean, it 1 or 2 hits, depending on the level, is all it takes to kill something. You're good.
Yeah. One of the other things that was definitely annoying about that, and I wish I would have showcased it, it was actually one of the levels that I wasn't recording. There are a couple spots where you have to jump on a platform, and either a xenomorph will drop down, and until you kill him, it will repetitively keep, like if you leave, like so if you're on that platform that goes up and down, and you go to get to like the top, if there's a spawn point right there, it'll drop down and wait at the edge. But then when you go down and go back up, it'll drop down again. And you literally have to pre-fire or take a chance of just holding on to like the minuscule edge. And half of the time, you know, it would hit you and you would fall all the way back down. So it's just like really crappy enemy placement. Yeah. So
I hated it. There's so many. I captured footage of areas where it's like, you're in a little teeny room. There's nothing there, and you walk by, and as you come back up, and it's like, oh, something just dropped from the ceiling and wrecked you. And it's like, are you joking with this? Drove me insane. Absolutely insane.
So,
Do we have trivia for this game?
I have no trivia.
Nope.
Do you
no,
have trivia?
no trivia. Nope. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking about, just getting
I
through
mean,
the
I'm
game.
sure
Yeah.
you can probably find some online.
I don't know if
maybe?
I could. I mean, here IMDb apparently has something on this game, but that's where
I mean, the only trivia I see is the sound clip of Bill Paxton saying "Game over, man." It's actually a new recording of the line made by Paxton himself for the game. I want to point out, Aliens is the best of the 3 original Alien movies because of Bill Paxton. Every movie is
too.
better with Bill Paxton.
Yes.
you
And
believe
as a matter of
so?
fact,
I do
Side-
actually. Like, I love Bill Paxton. Twister
So
is
if
one
you
of my
really
favorite
do-
movies of all time.
as a matter of fact, and it actually makes reference to Aliens. I actually just showed my girl a movie the other day. So the guy that played as what was the robot? What was his name
oh
in the second movie? That whatever
the
that
android
actor
or-
is, him, the girl that had the smart rifle in the second one that had the I don't know what her name was, like Rodriguez or something.
Yeah,
She had the
yeah.
bandana and she had the smart gun. Those two, as well as Bill Paxton, also played in another movie after, I think, like a couple months after Aliens came out, and they were all 3 in a vampire movie that got overshadowed by Lost Boys called Near Dark. You guys should actually definitely check that one out. If you enjoy Bill Paxton is in this, and it's just a classic thing. It's not based around him, but it was a
you know
vampire
what?
movie. It was
I
a
know
vampire
that
movie.
movie.
A vampire movie that came out around the same time as Lost Boys, and because Lost Boys was such a big blockbuster, this movie pretty much ran under the radar for a lot of people. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah, it is all 3 of them. Yeah, that's so funny.
yeah. So
Huh.
Yeah, I love Bill Paxton movies. I think he's.
yeah, Bill Paxton.
I mean, I know he's not like an A-list actor, but
he passed away a few years ago.
I know. But he's definitely a high.
You know what? So,
B-
I was
B-list
thinking about him. I
actor.
always forget that he's in True Lies, which I love. Another movie with a video game tie-in.
Oh, that was
He's in
him in
True
True Lies.
Y-
What?
Yeah, he's
He
a real
was.
cheesy car salesman.
That's right. Yes.
Which he's great at that role too, by the way. But
Yeah.
something that might be entertaining as a quick watch. So Benjamin Heckadorn, also known as Ben Heck, he's a guy that's kind of modded anything and everything over the years. He was kind of one of the first people to start doing the handheld versions of game consoles, like way back in the day. He's a big fan of Bill Paxton as well. And he set out to make his own pinball machine, and he made a Bill Paxton pinball machine. That's just Bill Paxton themed stuff.
That's classic.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess we can rate this.
Let's rank it.
Let's rank
Oh
it.
boy, Shadowloo's can't wait to rank this game. It's his
I can't
favorite.
wait to disagree with both of you. So
Oh, you're going to. I put this game in the B column just as a placeholder that has no indication of how I feel about this game. That being said, I give it a B.
Well, there it is.
I'm sorry you feel differently. I enjoyed this game. Like I said, I played it like every day this week trying to beat this game, and I would play it right now to beat this game.
So
I
me
enjoyed it.
myself, like I said, I grew up with this game. You know, I got it when it very first came out when I was a kid. Astronomically difficult. The soundtrack, absolutely top tier all the way around. If they did anything right for this game, it was definitely the music. It was pretty limited for, like I said, the enemies in the game. You know, some of the levels, the fact that it didn't have a map, like Shadaloo said, kind of takes away from it. It's not unplayable, but it's one of those games where you really have to play through time and time and time again until you either remember where enemies are going to be, remember what the maps are. I mean, there's probably some place online now where you can look up the maps, but like if you didn't have that back in the day, if we're rating this based off of the way it was when it came out, I would definitely have to say a high C, maybe a low B, because it's not unplayable, but it's definitely going to take a lot of broken controllers for this, depending on the person.
like when I say it's a B, I don't want you to think that I agree that it's the same caliber as the rest of the B category games. In that B category of games, it's probably the lowest on the list for me. But it's still, well, besides Zelda.
Man.
You know, but it's above.
Rank it however you feel, Shadowloo. Don't feel
Silent Hill 2. You know, this is a collaborative effort here.
Yeah,
so
yeah, man.
I understand.
We're all gonna have different feelings about different games. Absolutely.
Okay, so I mean, 100%. In my mind, an F, something would have to not only just be a bad game fundamentally, but it have to be broken too. It'd have to like not function properly, you know, just clipping through walls weirdly, or you know, hitboxes shitty, something, right? Like that would have to fall in an F category. D means the game's actually functioning. What? Okay, thank you. D means the game's actually like functioning. It's playable, but man, to me, there has to be so many questionable, just like game design choices, and Alien 3, like without question, falls in D for me. There's so much about the movement that I just absolutely hate. The getting on and off ladders, the locking to pivot while shooting, the fact that you can't jump and shoot, the sliding down very visible slides takes damage. Like there's so much stuff that I'm like, dude, the time limit, the radar running out of battery, even with the time limit, like so much of that is like, oh my God, please. Why did everything have to be annoying?
I think
so, like to me, this is a D, easy.
What makes it different for me in a higher, you know, the higher category is, you know, I'm not basing it off the first time I played it, which you obviously are because you've only played it the one time. I'm basing it off of like my overall experience. And as you know, play it again and again, you get to the point where you get the hang of all that stuff. So it doesn't become an issue, you know, the third, fourth time you've played it. So, you know, to me, I wouldn't rank it that low just because of, you know, I played it so many times already that, you know, the controls of getting off the ladder are easier for me now. And I don't have an issue with it. And I know what I need to do to get through these levels. If I was ranking the last area, it gets an F.
I don't know. It's like, I know what to do to wipe my butt. Would I prefer to wipe, you know, like if I had a choice to never wipe my butt again and it just be clean and immaculate versus having to do it, like I would choose not to have to do it. Like just doing it, just being able to do it is like not a good reason to put it on a higher ranking.
But I'm saying like, I mean, it's completely different because like getting on and off the ladders is, you know, it's an issue when you first start playing the game. I mean, when you first started wiping your butt, you got a little poop on your fingers, but you didn't stop.
but you know what? There's tons of other games that it's not a problem for. Like tons of other people figured out how to make ladders. I
agree.
Make it feel better from an overall game design.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
This. So so somebody in development made a crappy choice to cause a problem that has been solved generations prior. Like that's what I don't. To me, that is like just bad game design. This is a D in my opinion. You can argue with me.
No, because like I'm saying, you're basing it off your first time playing it. So
or beyond
that ladder. Easy. The first time I played it, that ladder sucked. I hated it. I couldn't figure out how to get off of it. I thought it was dumb. First of all, okay, hold on, Rick. This game cannot rank higher than Kirby. Yes, it can. Kirby 1 is a good game, but it's very basic. But I think with the B and the C and the D, we're clearly at like a C, right?
I'd say probably a C. Between the D and the B, definitely a C.
I think it ranks like, let's see. I don't know. I'm fine with a C.
Yep.
I'm not defending it as the best game ever, but like I don't think it's a D.
Yeah, Chaos says not unplayable, but very inaccessible. Only one way to solve most problems. Definitely. If you base it off of the current ranking, D would definitely work as well. Question is, did Shadowloo's wife get mad at him when he started yelling and swearing?
She wasn't even home. So the answer is no.
Saved. Yes.
She doesn't know anyway. She knows there's certain things in games that piss me off.
See, he says if he bases off the current games, the only issue is like with the current ranked games, there were some games on that list that like
Well,
Ninja 5.0. Ninja 5.0 was not a D to all of us, but Griff gave it an F, so that hurt it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, let's be totally clear. Like, if we had our own rankings, these would all be
Completely
almost all of
different,
these games would
probably.
be in different spaces.
Yeah.
But this is kind of an average.
I did make my own ranking one time, and I don't know if it's still. It's not anywhere near.
So before we get into our, look, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to do our little discussion we were talking about before, or do you want to spin the wheel, or do you want to spin the wheel at the end?
Well, let's see. We've got. Let's spin the wheel and then we can do our discussion because I don't, that way we kind of don't have to cram the discussion and we can kind of just go until
time runs out.
Yeah,
let's spin that wheel. Let me.
So everybody, I put Monsters in My Pocket on the list for the NES as my replacement.
Yeah, he did. All right, let's get to that wheel. All right.
Yeah, I was just channeling a fan vote.
We do not win any votes. Y'all are bad at picking games. Just kidding. I don't mean that.
but he does.
I mean, honestly, the only fan vote. I mean, Time Splitters 2 is okay, but the person that picked the best fan vote game was Rick. Metroid Fusion was so good. Excalibur 2097. Oh.
For
have fun, guys.
Nintendo, nice. I know nothing about this game.
Have fun.
I don't know.
It's not easy. It's not easy either.
What kind of game? What kind of game is it?
Well, let's just watch a video. How about that?
So while he's looking up a video, everybody, our discussion is going to be a small discussion. Is going to be where we basically pick and talk about 3 games that we thought were good movie tie-ins. So basically, because this game is based off of Alien 3 the movie, we're going to pick 3 games that we personally feel were good adaptations of the movie. So yes, Sloma just mad that I had to carry him in TS2. Ooh.
I'd say we both had different strengths. Okay, here is a video. My internet's terrible today, guys. I'm sorry. Suffer.
Harbor Freight knows skill is important because on any given day,
not promoted by Harbor Freight, by the way. We're not paid for this 100%. Wow, that is a total rip of the Mortal Kombat movie theme song.
I love it. I love the soundtrack in this.
So he's Blanca?
Just hanging out with a giant sword kind of thing?
Yeah.
I can't wait to read the history on this. Terminator? I cannot wait to read the history on this game.
That reminds me of the chainsaw guy from the TMNT for NES.
That's Thanos right there. Oh, nice.
So,
okay.
All right.
This is another one of those games that I've played a lot. I've played it a lot, but I stopped when I put it on the list. So, I'm excited to get back into it.
Nice. It kind of reminds me of Highlander mixed with Strider a little bit.
Yeah. So it kind of seems like there's a level, and then at the end of the level, the boss fight is more of like a fighting game kind of feel to it. Is that sort of how it goes down? Or sword fighting?
Yeah, you definitely are a sword fighter. You know.
Okay.
I already know what game I'm going to replace it with, but I'm not going to tell anybody until next week.
Okay.
Right.
Y'all are going to hate it probably. I don't care. I love it.
think I saw Shredder fly by a second ago. Oh, one of the enemies in the game.
All right. So, as they were saying before, we have a discussion topic for the rest of the show. And that is our 3 favorite movie tie-ins.
Or 3 good ones at least.
I mean, that would
That
be
we
our
can
favorite.
re-
I mean,
that we can remember. Well, yeah, I guess we could say that.
starting to list off strong Home Alone 2.
Home Alone
I'm just kidding.
2.
I'm just
Super
kidding. I'm
Nintendo?
just kidding. Don't take
I was
don't take me
wait,
seriously.
I was
What?
gonna say for the Super
No.
Nintendo.
Everybody knows what my number 1 would be, I think, already. I mean, even people that are watching,
Alien
anybody who knows
3?
Lion
No.
King.
It's Lion King, 100%,
Oh,
all the way.
okay.
Lion King is my favorite movie-based game.
Noted. Okay.
Not
I
bad.
mean, I
My
played it
favorite
today.
all time, and we've already talked about it, and you guys have seen me stream it a little bit, is actually Aliens for the arcade cabinets. It was
Oh,
pretty
okay.
great side-scrolling shoot 'em up. Asymmetric, not really asymmetric, side-scrolling, whatever. You can play that multiplayer, 1 player or 2 player. Quarters, eat the quarters unless you play 100 times over and you kind of figure out what weapons are best. Aliens for the arcade was absolutely phenomenal. Pretty much scene for scene for the movie, but yeah.
Well, I'm kind of going back and forth between like one of the ones that I actually really liked, and it's because I like this movie too. In fact, Chaos and I watched this Nightmare not that long ago. I think you were in there for that. I'm pretty positive that was you. I can't remember if like Hokie and others were there, but Street Fighter the movie, the game. It's based off of obviously Street Fighter the movie.
Right.
But what's interesting about it is
where a European plays an American general. Yes.
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 So the muscles from Brussels, baby.
Yes.
But basically they took like FMV scans and that's how they made the sprite. So it's the real people doing it. But what's so silly about it is like from a Street Fighter perspective, like it's honestly like not that bad of a Street Fighter game. Like combo wise and stuff, like a lot of the combos are the same. They're still there. It just like it looks goofy and it's a weird tie-in and I love it. And it's available on the Saturn and the PS1 in a long box. So I have
I've
the
seen
long box
that. I've
version of
seen
this
the long
game.
box for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Not
I
too
love
bad.
it specifically for that. I pretty decently solid.
Chaos says also slow.
What's your
Jungle
number
Book.
2 there, Shadowloose?
My number 2.
Yeah, let's go back around the other way.
This is kind of where I struggle with it because there's one that I think's really good that I enjoyed a lot as a kid, and I don't know if anybody would ever like even remember it or has ever played it. But so Muppet Treasure Island, you guys know that movie, right? The Muppets movie where they do Treasure Island. There's a PC point and click adventure game for that. And as a kid, I used to play it like crazy. It's one of those that it's on like 3, across 3 CDs or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a big case. I still have it in my
floppy discs.
It wasn't even floppy disks. It's all CD based. I mean, I could grab it here in a second, but yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was a lot of fun. It was a really good like interactive point and click, and it's entertaining. And I've got a Windows XP PC finally that was in my parents' basement. It was one of our old ones from a million years ago that I'm going to re-image, and I would love to play a bunch of these games like on stream, and even have my son play them because I thoroughly enjoy those. And they're not actiony, but you know what?
The old school PC games.
Yeah, they got. I mean, it's like one of those things where it kind of like takes you to the screen, and there's a million things you can click on, right? It doesn't look like you can click on them, but all bunch of shit happens and everything. I love that.
There were some really good point and click games back in the day.
There were.
They had a Rugrats game that I played a lot as a kid. That was on the PC. It was a point and click type thing.
Yeah. I've streamed some point and clicks and some old school PC games. I've been trying to keep it relevant at least for the old school PC stuff, and there's a lot of people that actually are happy to see it, definitely. But my number 2 that we've played here on the podcast would have to be Nightmare on Elm Street for the NES. It's loosely based. I don't even say loosely. It's pretty much the third movie all the way around. You go, you do the first 3 houses. You go to the junkyard, which is basically where Freddy was buried in the movie. His skeleton was buried. Then you go to the graveyard, which is where you meet in the movie. They meet the one guy meets Freddy's mother, which is the nun. Then you go to Nancy's house, which is the chick from the first movie that pretty much helps the Dream Warriors in the third. And then you go to the high school at the end, which is the final level, and that's pretty much where you go down to the boiler room. I think it was done very well for the NES. LJN has a lot of hate. A lot of people hate LJN because they do really crappy tie-ins for movies, but I really feel like they did pretty good with that one. So,
Okay.
All right.
I mean, obviously, for obvious reasons, my number 2 is going to be Aladdin or the Sega Genesis. Also, another game that I am very fond of, and everybody knows that.
Choose Aladdin. So we got Lion King and Aladdin. So
yeah,
and proper order. You need to bounce back around. So now you got to give us your number 1. Is it another Disney
it's
tie-in
The Mask.
title?
No, I'm just kidding.
The Mask. Oh
I'm
my
just kidding.
god!
It's not. That is a really fun game. It's not my favorite. I mean, I do love like a lot of the Disney games. Like I like the Jungle Book is fun. Toy Story is fun. Like, how can you hate any of these games? Even like Roar of the Beast on the Sega, I've beaten and I enjoyed it.
nice.
So I mean, I could go any way with that.
It's not GoldenEye. Your
No, that
favorite
game's
movie tie-in game?
tragically bad. Quite literally trash.
I try to tell that to people. GoldenEye does not hold up, but
I guess like
I feel like it holds up a little bit better with the fact that they brought it out they remastered it, as they say, for the Xbox Game Pass, and then also the PlayStation. I think they did the same thing with that, but it's still
that plays a lot better for sure.
So are we saying that the movie has to be like the game has to be based off an actual movie, or it has to be based off like a movie concept? Because there's like so many Batman games.
That's kind of that's what I was struggling with, because I think some of my favorite are based off of movie IPs and not necessarily a particular movie.
Batman Arkham Origins is fantastic, and I love that game.
Yeah.
And that could easily be a number 3 for me if that meets the criteria.
See, and I like Batman.
A lot of people are saying Perfect Dark was better.
Batman Returns is very good too. I almost thought about saying that, but like even like if we're talking like Batman Arkham Origins is one of my favorites. I really liked their concepts of with the villains that you don't see every day.
Yeah.
So we're kind of that's I see Chaos. You said so many Star Wars games. One of mine is in the Star Wars realm. So I don't know, Freedom. What are you thinking?
I just had one and I completely forgot what the hell it was. Go ahead and pick your third and give me a second. I think I literally just had one and I completely forgot what it was.
Let's see, even the best Star Wars game is Shadows of the Empire.
I don't know if I would say that, but I like Shadows of the Empire, but I don't know if I would say that. I think one of my favorite Star Wars games is honestly Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. That game is awesome. The marketing for it is awesome. This is kind of on the, I always saw the TikTok trend of people going like, what's the one game that you would die for, a new entry into the series, but will never get made? I never had an answer for that until I was maybe this last week, and I thought about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I would love to see a Star Wars Episode Racer that was customizable like Forza or like Gran Turismo or something, to where you are making your pod. And either it's a big open world area like Forza Horizon, or even going through a campaign again. I would love another Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, and the Star Wars Episode 1 Racer arcade is so cool. I love that. So but it's not directly tied into a movie. It's really close, and I've got some honorable mentions too. But let's hear yours first, Freedom.
Actually, I just thought about it. Yeah, so you guys said that. We were just talking about GoldenEye. I actually enjoyed Tomorrow Never Dies for the PlayStation 1, which was just after that in the series. It was all third person. Now, if you can get past the the controls are a little wonky. The gameplay is really not too bad for what it is. But I
A
definitely
little
enjoy
more
it.
like
That's
siphon filter style,
a little
right?
bit,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a little edgy, if they remastered something like that, or if they figured out, if you can figure out some way to remap your controller to where you can have the buttons where you want it to do, I think it'll be pretty good. But yeah, Tomorrow Never Dies for the PlayStation 1.
So as a couple kind of honorable mentions, there's honestly a lot of Lord of the Rings games too.
Yeah.
Seem to forget those among like the Star Wars and stuff. But there was a Lord of the Rings game called Lord of the Rings Conquest, which was actually made by Pandemic Studios, the same guys who made Star Wars Battlefront. And it's basically Star Wars Battlefront, but Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
So you have these really big battles, you pick your main characters or whatever, and you get to do capture the flag and all this other stuff. Tons of fun. I love that one. We were talking about Ghostbusters, the video game. To me, in my heart, that's Ghostbusters 3. That's the true Ghostbusters 3. And I wish they would have just taken that game and made that into a movie as well. Like, there's the story fits perfectly into what they needed. There's a couple that I kind of forgot about. Spider-Man 2 was really big back in the day. I remember when that came out. And then
Josh actually says, and I was thinking about this, but I wasn't 100% sure. But he is right though. He says Jedi Power Battles was based off of around the time of Episode 1, which Power Battles was pretty great. It's cleaner on the Dreamcast, but it came out for the Dreamcast and the PlayStation 1. But yeah, that's a pretty good multiplayer game if you had a couch buddy to play with. So definitely.
Yeah, and then the other one that popped up was I don't know if anybody remembers this, but I remember it being big at the time, was Chronicles of Riddick, the escape from Butcher Bay.
Butcher Bay,
First
I was going to say
person.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty good. That was actually really good. I played and beat that when it very first came out. Very good game.
id Tech 3 engine, Doom 3 style
game. Yeah, in that game, it actually shows you go through a mission to where he actually gets the silver eyes. Like you get in the game that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I played that, but yeah, there's a lot of that. I would say a vast majority of movie tie-in games are pretty garbagey, but there are definitely some.
Was also pretty fun. Yeah, you can get lost in that really easy though. If you don't know what you're doing, Who Framed Roger Rabbit for the NES could definitely get you lost, but pretty great for what it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Dick Tracy game. I remember that. I don't know about the Rocketeer though.
I've seen that. I've never played it though. And what did it say? World is not enough. You could switch between third and first person on that, I believe, or maybe it was just first person. That was still Pierce Brosnan.
They never quite captured the magic of GoldenEye. That GoldenEye captured, did they? Though, huh?
Nice.
GoldenEye was so good for its time, and it just did not age well.
Well, it's so funny that the main thing that everybody latched onto was multiplayer, and that was quite literally an afterthought. That was like basically a tech demo in-house, and they're like, why not just chuck it in here? And then that's what everybody remembers about that game. So
this week is, you said Excalibur for the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Yep.
Nice.
Excalibur 2097.
Is this a long game, or is it is there save states? Is there not save states, but does the game let you save, or is
I will be using save states?
No, it's not gonna let you save. It's gonna be the long play is 33 minutes.
Oh,
so it's not inherently long, but it is hard. So
if you know what we're doing, but see, that's the thing is like the long play for Alien 3 was like 45 minutes, and I feel like that's one of those things where it's like if you know what you're doing. Yeah, you can get through it in 30 minutes.
Right.
But is it going to kick our butt? So, okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, it looks like we're starting to wind down on this. That was a great episode. Thank you, everybody, for being here, hanging out. All of our classics, as usual. Josh says Judge Dredd for the NES and the Super Nintendo were also great. Were they both the same game?
I think they were. Chaos says not long, but hard. Check.
Yep.
And with that, we are going to call it.
Yep. That's the way ladies like it too.
That's all she wrote. Thank you guys so much for being here for another episode of First Round Showdown. We will see you next week as we play, what is it, Excalibur
2097.
2097 for the Super Nintendo. Everybody have a great week. Love you guys so much.
See y'all.
See ya.
Bye.